Welcome to the second episode in a series of Technology for Independence, in which we're going to be looking at supportive technology. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the second episode in a series of Technology for Independence with George Myers, Grant Director with the Ohio Tech Ambassadors Network, and Christopher Cooley, Ohio Tech Ambassador. I truly believe every person in all walks of life want to live as independent as possible. Sometimes some of us find ourselves having a difficulty coping with a specific disability. That is when the Ohio Tech Ambassadors Network is of great help. George, Christopher, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to having you talk more about supportive technology.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So George, what is supportive technology?
Well, I appreciate you asking that question, Pat. The term supportive technology is one that's actually used by the State Department of Developmental Disabilities, or DODD. And since they were the ones that funded our grant, it's one of the things we talk about in almost every event that we attend. And if you don't mind, what I'll do is actually share some slides with folks so they can see some examples while we talk about these concepts. So supportive technology, according to DODD, is actually made up of two different components. The first one of those is assistive technology. And our slide here says any device or object that assists a person with developmental disability in just the things that they do in their everyday life. And really, it might even be more all-encompassing to say anything that assists a person with a developmental disability in their activities of everyday living. So these things could be special adaptive devices that are made just for certain types of disabilities. We're going to see some examples of those in a second. Maybe they could be mainstream consumer devices, things that any of us might have in our home. We consider them conveniences, but a person with a disability might use them for a particular purpose in independence. Or it really could be anything. We have some examples we'll even show you of things that we would call low tech. They don't have batteries. They don't use electricity, but they still qualify as assistive technology. Okay, so that's one half of supportive technology, assistive technology. The other half is what we call remote support. So this is a personal service delivered to a person living on their own or just being on their own, a person with a developmental disability who's alone in their home, by trained support staff. And we deliver this service over two-way audio or video. Most of the time it's two-way video. And it could involve certain types of technologies that we'll take a look at here that are there specifically to help these remote staff delivering the support to make sure that the person is safe and secure in the home that they're in. All right, so we're going to give you some examples of these things. First, we'll take some assistive technology examples, and we're going to let Chris Cooley comment on some of these things as we go along. All right, so first of all, we're specialized devices. So these are things that are tailored just for people with certain types of disabilities. One example of this would be an induction stove or cooktop. So you're seeing a picture of the top of the stove there. So the way these stoves work is they're magnetized. So they take special pots and pans. When you sit them down on the top of the stove and turn the stove on, you can be cooking food and literally right next to the pan, you could touch the surface of the stove and it won't even be hot. Okay, so that's really useful for folks with certain types of physical disabilities. Here's another one, a medication dispenser. So you can see an example of one of these. It's got medication sort of loaded in where it's organized for a person. And many of these can actually remind people of the exact time of day when it's time for them to take their medication. And let me stop for a second. Chris, Do you have a medication dispenser that you use?
Um, I actually use the pocket now, where you push them out of the pocket and tear the back of it off and take the medicine that way. But I have seen these medication devices and other folks using them is a great uh, tool because the remote support can unlock it. They can help you be able to get your medicine out of there at the time that it needs to be taken. Um, and a lot of folks think, oh, you gotta lock up your medicine. It's that bad that you gotta lock it up. This is not. This is not that. This is a tool and technology part of it that helps the individual with multiple disabilities to be able to know that, hey, it's time to take my medicine because number one, they have a timer on it that'll beep at you. Your remote support team could call and say, "Hey, get your medicine box. Let's open it up." They can open it up and get the right amount of medicine. Um, if you have a certain kind of disability that you don't remember how many pills you need to take, or you may not know what color the pill might be, maybe you're colorblind. This is a system that will automatically keep your medicines together and the amount that you need and only let you take out what you need to take out at that time.
Yeah, great description of that, Chris. All right, so that's another example of a specialized device. Here's another one, MedAlert devices. And you can see on the picture here, there are many different varieties of this. The little circular thing near the top of the drawing could either be put into the pendant that you see next to it or into the sort of watch-like wristband. And then you've also got an example of a device that could be in certain places in your home. These are devices where you could push a button if you need help. Some of them allow you to actually speak with a person on the other end. And in our case, often those would be staff that are providing remote support to us.
These are great devices because if you have a seizure, the remote support team on the tablet can call you and check on you if you're having a seizure because actually the watch will vibrate or the pendant necklace could vibrate saying, hey, there's a seizure going on. And the remote support team can actually turn on the tablet and make sure you're safe and okay. And and what they will do is not call 911 right away, but they'll call the SSA or service coordinator or maybe the family member and say, "Hey, this is what's going on. What do you think that might be the next step?" So they may call for 911 to come and just check the individual out, make sure everything's good, and that may be all they need. And these devices are great. And I also have a device that actually I could carry around with me that is red and black. And let's just say I'm at the grocery store and I can't remember what I need. I could push the button, remote support team. My remote support team knows what my list may be, so they can help me. Or if I'm walking somewhere and then I don't know where I am, I could push the button. They could turn on a GPS and help me with that. Or if I'm just out and about enjoying time with my friends and my family, or just enjoying time by myself, and I'm not at home to answer the tablet when it's time for my check-in call, they could call me on this little geocom. It's called geocom and has safe and home on it, and other remote support teams have the same thing kind of, and it's not when I push it and want to talk to somebody or maybe I feel uncomfortable, I just push it and talk to them about the issue, and they can help me and guide me to make the right decision and make the right call. And So it's like, yes, if I fall down and get hurt, or maybe in an accident, I can push it, and they can get help for me if I need it. But it's not always a 911 call. It's always, hey, can we work through this together? Can, turn on the GPS and help you? How can we help you? It's always, how can we help you? It's not, oh my gosh, we saw that you fell. We're calling 911 right away. It's, how can we help you? Where are you hurt? Or maybe, where do you think you are? Or where are you going? It's those kind of things where, it's all about the individual. It's not about them making a decision for us. It's allowing us to make that decision to make that call. This is the device called GeoCom, and this is when I need a friend to talk to or support, I can push this button.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, we're going to move on to our next category of device here. So these are consumer devices, like we were saying before. Some devices that many of us have in our home, and I used examples like Amazon Alexa or Google Home, and all of the different types of little devices that fit into those ecosystems. So many of us have these now, and they may be just conveniences for us, but these may have very special applications for folks with developmental disabilities that do allow them to live independently. And I know, Chris, you've got some of this stuff in your home, right?
I do. I have Alexa that connect to different devices that help me with the microwave, help me with my oven, coffee pot, and then also the TV. It can help me with the TV. And so Alexa is a pretty good tool for people living independent, and allows you to make calendars and reminders, list, and on and on. But it's a great device.
Yeah, and if you think about people with physical limitations, people who are either need to get around in wheelchairs or might have disabilities that just make physical movement around an apartment or a home really difficult. Some of these things just allow them to spend the same amount of time turning on the lights or the TV that we would spend. So here's some more of examples of those types of devices. Smart light bulbs, and I mentioned also here switches or outlets, because all three of these are ways that we could control particular electrical devices, even if we don't, like, let's say we had a really old lamp. As long as you plug the lamp into the smart outlet, you could still voice activate it and turn it on and off that way. Do you have any of those, Chris?
I have one at my back door because the switch is too hard to get to sometimes. So I could just tell my app on my phone to turn it on and turn it off.
Okay, great. Here's another category of devices we would consider consumer devices, and lots of folks have these. They're doorbell cameras. And of course, I've got some brand names that you can see there, and most famous one of all, which is Ring doorbell cameras, is not on our picture. But again, folks can use these to see who's at their door without having to physically go up and look through, a keyhole or anything like that. Do you have a doorbell camera, Chris?
I have 2 doorbell cameras and 2 regular cameras. One in my kitchen that remote support team can help me with, and the one outside in the front yard. Actually, remote support team can actually help me watch what's going on out there, and they can also turn that camera on and talk to me, and just keep me company if I need it while I'm working in my front yard. The doorbell in the back, I do have the doorbell in the back. that has a camera on it. So if I want to go out and turn on my grill, my grill, and cook a hot dog or something on the grill, or have a bonfire, and I'm afraid that something might get out of control and I might not know it or not know how to handle the situation, they could turn on that backdoor camera and watch everything that I do and kind of just talk to me, let me know that they're there, and if I need them, they're there. And then also the front door, who is at my door. They can see who's at my door and help me make the right decision to let people in or out. And if the good thing about the front door camera and the back door camera is that they can take pictures of anybody that may be not wanted, and they keep coming around and keep coming around. They can take pictures and put it in that camera, and as soon as that person walks up on my porch, that camera will detect them and send a signal to remote support, and remote support will know that that person is not allowed in my house. And that's a great safety feature that I like too.
Yeah, that is really a neat feature. Some of the really sophisticated facial recognition software that can come with these cameras these days for exactly what Chris was describing. All right. So then the other thing that we mentioned were some devices that really don't need batteries, they don't need electricity, but we would still consider these things to be assistive technology. Okay, here's a perfect example. We actually have one of the tech ambassadors on our team who makes great use of this thing. So it's a dish brush. I don't know if you can see, but it's maybe 6 inches from the end of the bristles to the other end. And if you look at the bottom, you can see that it's got this sort of stickum cups. And what he does is he sticks this to the bottom of his sink. And since his physical disability gives him only really one hand, he has really great usage of just one of his two hands. He can use one hand and hold a piece of silverware or a bowl or a plate and just use it to wash those dishes. So that is probably $15, $20, but we consider it assistive tech, and it's of great use to Tanner. Here's another one, adaptive silverware. So if you look all the way to the left, this is a picture of a product that was actually made with Velcro for a person that cannot grip silverware to just be able to use that spoon. Then I included 2 other pictures because one of the people on our team, Jen Schlegel from Columbus, one of her favorite things to do is to actually make adaptive silverware kind of on the fly when she goes places. So you can see the one example in the middle there. She just got 2 paper cups and a fork stuck between them because she only has the use of really about 2 of her 5 fingers on a hand. She's able to grasp the cup where she wouldn't be able to grasp just the fork itself. And then another way that she did that using a pop can there. Okay, a couple more examples, and this is maybe an obvious one. Just a grab bar. We've got it in a restroom, but you could have these by a bed or many other places in a home. All right, and you've heard us bring this up multiple times. We'll just run through the basics of remote support, and then we're going to kick this over to Chris again because he really makes extensive use of this service. So this is remote support. It's personal support delivered over two-way audio or video, as we mentioned before. If you were to look in the picture here, the person sitting in the foreground of the picture would be the person maybe providing the support, and this is their viewpoint on the conversation. So the person in the home also can see them. Okay, so the important thing about this is the people who are delivering the support over two-way video are trained in all of the same way as someone would have to be trained to come into the home in person and provide support to that person. They also know the person that they are supporting because they have a copy of what we call an ISP or an individual service plan for that person. So Chris has one of those, and every person in our system throughout the state of Ohio has an individual service plan that lists in great detail all about that person, what they like, what they don't like, what helps them. So it's nice that the person who are, people remotely know all of those things as they're trying to support the person in the home by themselves. And they can provide support on all kinds of, things that Chris can comment on. But they also have access to a lot of technologies. Chris has given you a few good examples of that already in terms of things like cameras. Okay. But other examples may be things like door locks. Okay. Maybe thermostats, cameras, motion sensors. If you think about something like a thermostat, to have a person in a home in the summertime where it was way, way too hot in the home, or during the wintertime for it to be way, way too cold, is a really big safety concern. So for them to have access to what the temperature is, helps them head off things like that. Now, Chris, you've talked some about your remote support experience and what those folks do to help you feel comfortable living independently. Do you want to comment on any of the specific equipment that you have in the home? I mean, you have a tablet you can use, at least one, right?
Yeah, I have a tablet that sits up on the table, and I can carry it from room to room. And that tablet, they'll call me in the morning. Hey, how are you doing? Are you going to get your coffee, and what are you going to do today? And just their happiness, they're being there as a friend, and their attitude toward every individual is awesome, because I could feel that attitude. I could feel that friendship. And we could talk about what I'm going to do today, how I'm going to do it. I take my medicine, I'm having my coffee, whatever it may be. And that tablet is there at any time that I need to just talk to someone, need to directions on a back of a food box that I don't understand how to cook it. They can help me. I can hold that up to the tablet. They can help me with that. Those are different things. They can also help me with anything in my home, reading or anything like that. And then also, I could connect it to my video phone for the deaf and hard of hearing, where I can have a sign language interpreter if I need it. And also, I do have the camera in the kitchen. That way, they can just help me do things in the kitchen if I need it. Be able to help me turn on the laundry, and how to, what button to push. They can see all that on the tablet and the camera and be able to help me. And as George was saying, they do have a plan that looks just like this. And I just show it to you. And it's about 3 or 4 pages. And it's all my information, my disabilities, family members to call if they need to call somebody, my service coordinator if they need to call the service coordinator for something. But they know everything about me, and that's a good thing, because if I'm out and about and I need my remote support team to help me, maybe tell the cop, tell the law enforcement, who to call. Maybe I don't remember where I live. Remote support team can help me with that. And then, the good things about it is, if I'm at home and I have that tablet, if the fire department comes and they need to know some information, and I'm so frustrated and I can't explain it, then remote support team could jump in there and say, this is, they have my plan, they know, and so they could go down the list and give the fire department or the ambulance the information they need.
That's great, Chris. This is the heart of what we're doing.
Okay.
Is to talk about these topics.
Okay.
As much as folks like Chris have this as a really integral part of their life, and our other tech ambassadors would be the same, so many folks out there just may not know what is available to them.
And a lot of folks, when you think about technology and you think about assistive technology, that may not run by batteries, and it may not run by electric or Wi-Fi. My guide dog from Pilot Dogs in Columbus, Ohio, is a tech to me, because it's my eyes and my ears, and it helps me get around and about in our community. and keeps me safe. And then also, you know, folks in the wheelchairs, power chairs, you have regular chairs, and you have those, you know, that are not run by electric, and that help keep them going out into the community, help them be able to get out there and enjoy their life independently, and everything, you know, things like that. I really like, because it shows that we have the power to live independent.
I think all of this information is really, really good. There's a lot of things that I've learned today, and I really appreciate the Tech Ambassadors program and all the work that you do in uh, helping those that need just a little bit extra help.
Yeah, well, we greatly appreciate the chance to come on and talk about what we do. It's important to us, and we do hope that it can be helpful and educational. Our program is all around the state of Ohio. We've got 8 tech ambassadors that live in every corner of the state. And what we do is to encourage our peers, adults with developmental disabilities living across the state, to try out technology as a means to help them live more independent lives. If you want more information about what we do, you can find us at our website, ohiotechambassadors.org. At that site, you can book an ambassador to come speak with you. You can give us some feedback on those interactions that you have. You can register for events and find other resources. And we're also on both Facebook and Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel. If you search for Ohio Tech Ambassadors on any of those platforms, you will find us. Thanks.